Welcome to Tower News Network, the official news broadcast of Villa de Chêne.
Welcome to Tower News Network's April broadcast. We cannot wait to share some of the historical traditions of Villa de Chêne, including the architecture of the building, the origins of Tower Talk newspaper, the school procedures, and some special activities that we have enjoyed over the years. We're starting in 1929 and bringing you the most up-to-date news of April 2013. Here are Annie and Madeline, who will be telling us a little more about the design of our beloved Villa Castle.
When walking through the halls of Villa, many students often forget the rich history of our second home.
Villa originally began as a single log cabin surrounded by 38 acres of lush Frontenac forest, a far cry from the castle-esque appearance of Villa today. After the money to fund the school was procured by the Society of the Sacred Heart in 1928, construction of Villa de Chêne began. The school is said to contain 208 rooms, arched doorways, and Norman towers.
The structure cost between $800,000 and $900,000 to construct. On October 23, 1928, Archbishop John Glennon set the cornerstone to Villa de Chêne. After almost a year of construction, the nuns moved from the log cabin to the main building. The building was later blessed by Reverend George Donnelly. The school finally opened in 1929, although the building was lacking in some of its original plans, including a chapel, by Marlowe and Quick.
In 1956, the school began to raise money for the chapel. The entire community responded generously. Within a year and a half, the chapel was built. Hidden within the main altar at Villa, you can find a scroll containing the names of all the donors and workmen. Construction soon began on a student activities building designed by Helmuth, Obata, and Kasbach. The building was set to include a swimming pool and a gymnasium. The building would later be named the Thelma Kennefic Athletic Center in recognition of Thelma Kennefic's 34 remarkable years as athletic director.
In the early 1970s, Villa purchased the property at Maryland and Taylor Avenues, which began the construction of the lower school pods created by Curtis Idner.
Ever since these constructions have been added, only minor updates have been added to preserve the original image of Villa de Chêne.
Thank you for joining us on this tour of Villa. I'm Annie Price.
And I'm Madeline McGrath.
And thank you for joining us on TNN News.
Thank you, Annie and Madeline, for telling us a little more about the construction of this beautiful building, Villa de Chêne. Now we will be hearing from Sophie about Villa's initial school day and procedures.
Thanks, Allie. Villa de Chêne is a school full of old traditions as well as many new ones. Over the years, Villa has progressed and grown into a flourishing and successful Sacred Heart school that each girl takes pride in attending. Here is a look back at the old Villa de Chêne's daily and annual agenda. The school year is divided into quarters of approximately 8 weeks each, exclusive of mid-year and end-of-school year exams. One review suffices for the written test and oral examination. Oral examinations are held during the first 3 days of Holy Week. The passing mark in each subject is 70%, derived as before explained. A test that is 45 minutes long is given in each subject each quarter. Besides these mid-year tests and a final test, an hour and a half or 2 hours are required in each subject. Oral examinations in English, Latin, and math were held at the close of the first semester. An honor roll student consists of names of children in the academic classes who have attained a general average in the 5 subjects of English, history, math or science, Latin, and French. It's drawn up at the end of each quarter. A number of annual prizes are given in June. One for good conduct according to vote. One is in each class for the highest class average in the regular subjects, English, history, Latin, and math. One for each of the academic classes, grammar, history, geography, math, and the preparatory classes. One for the reading and primary classes. One for penmanship in each primary and preparatory class. One in French class. One in each serving course. One in each study hall for order. Prizes for regular attendance. Now, let's move on to cultural activities. Each class was required to present a musical and literary program during certain times of the year. In the fourth quarter, the preparatory and primary classes present a little program demonstrating the work done in their diction classes. Now that we have looked at a general view of the school year and activities, let's look a little closer at the day of a typical Villa girl. One of the primary differences between Villa then and now is the Mass schedule. Each day, Villa girls were required to go to school before Mass at 7:30. Supper was served at 6 each night. Further, the boarders would have to be back in their rooms by 8:30 each night. The girls were also only taught by nuns, so we can only imagine how strict the code of conduct was. We can almost guarantee that the alumni of Villa would be surprised at the differences between our current lifestyle and that of a Villa grad many years ago.
Thanks, Sophie. It seems as if not much has changed during the day here at Villa Deschênes. And now we will be hearing from Cooper, who will be sharing some special activities practiced here at Villa Deschênes.
This is Cooper Hudspeth for Tower News Network. At Villa Deschênes, we celebrate and continue many traditions. Events such as clubs, maypole, mass, field hockey, prize day, and many other activities have been celebrated annually for many years. Though students seem mostly occupied with schoolwork today, certain clubs have remained popular for quite some time. There used to be a glee club at Villa that met twice a week, similar to the show choir today. Being a part of the Thespian Society has also always been a tradition. Earning the coveted Thespian pins were an award of the National Honorary Dramatic Society. Villa girls are still a part of this society today and have been awarded these pins, as well as completed at least 100 hours in dramatics. The Honor Society is another club that Villa girls have been participating in for decades as they continue this tradition today. Varsity Club was still a possible club for students at the beginning years of Villa. The club promoted school spirit through athletics as it does today. Another tradition that is dear to many graduates is Maypole, which has been a tradition since June 4th, 1930. Maypole is a dance that you perform with your graduating class in vibrant white wedding dresses. This is the time for families and other classmates to get together for the last time as one class. Mass has always been an important aspect at Villa. Boarders attended daily mass and assembled there for night prayers after evening study each evening. Each day student at Villa made a chapel visit during a study period. Today, students attend Mass for every special holiday, and Masses are held every Tuesday morning in the chapel before school starts. One very important sport that many students were passionate about back then, as well as they are today, is field hockey. At one point in time, Villa did not lose a hockey game for 8 years. Continuing this athletic excellence was the basketball team, when they did not lose a game except for 2 games in 5 years. Every year after the last day of exams, Villa Deschênes holds a mass entitled Prize Day. This has been a tradition since June 19, 1930. Field Day is another annual tradition that has been around since June 4, 1930. This is an event where the high school is split up into 4 teams: Maroon 1, Maroon 2, White 1, and White 2. At the end of the day, we tally up the points to see who won. As you can see, there are many traditions that are continued at Villa every day. Thank you for watching this segment of TNN.
Thank you, Cooper, for those very interesting details. Up next, we have Margaret sharing the history of Villa's newspaper, Tower Talk.
The Villa Deschênes newspaper, Tower Talk, is a long-standing Villa tradition. The newspaper was started in 1967, meaning that Tower Talk is now over 45 years old. Right here with me is the oldest issue of the paper in Villa Deschênes records. This issue was made in 1989. Older issues of the Villa Deschênes newspaper were just simple pieces of paper stapled together, just like this one. Tower Talk did not look like an actual newspaper until 2000, and the paper did not come in color until only a few years ago. The newspaper has always been a student-run paper, meaning that the students write, design, and produce the paper. Tower Talk was not always a class. Students had to come in either before school or after school to produce the paper. Today, Tower Talk is partially printed in color, has 10 pages, 9 writers, and it is a full-time class. The newspaper is an important part of Villa tradition. This has been Margaret Kavanaugh with the evolution of Tower Talk for Tower News Network.
Wow, very interesting, Margaret. Thanks for your insight discussing Villa's newspaper. That about wraps up our April broadcast. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed learning about the history of Villa Deschênes. Tune in next month for TNN's senior broadcast. This is Allie Hennessy signing out from Tower News Network. Wow, very. Sorry. I just don't. Face.
No, you should definitely not.
What if we open and we're like this?
No, blush, front neck.
In 1956, can you edit that?
Thanks, Allie. Ville du Chien is a school full of old traditions as well as I'm sorry. I just thought. Thanks, Allie.
Clear your paper!
Oh my god.
You're annoying.
I'm just nervous. Okay, go. Why are you nervous? Okay. I have to read this. Start over. Okay. This is Cooper Hudspeth. God? Okay. Cooper!